Hello everybody, welcome back to Dominions 5. Let's jump into our late age Tianqi game here. I'm expecting this is going to be a pretty short turn. We found 2 magic sites. This is in the Throne Province. Okay, got some nature and some earth gem income, excellent. So we teleported our pretender. Let's claim the throne. We also built a lab here so that we could research with these mages, but let's make sure we've... looks like we have some death site searching to do in this corner of the world. We could also do some Air 2, and honestly some Earth searching wouldn't go amiss. So we've actually got a little chunk of territory here that needs a bit of site searching. So let's kind of plan that out a little bit. So nature as well needs to be site searched. So unfortunately the pattern isn't great. We could do like 1, 2, 3 and then come down here, I guess. So we'll have to double back, but that's too bad. So I guess we just move north. So, well, let's see. Here we need earth and death. So let's do that. And we can also use air 2. That's sort of like an extra little bonus. So let's move up here. There we needed water 2, so that's why this guy is in place. And then nature 2... You know what? It's just going to be easier micro to move all 3 of these site searchers together, even though this is, I already searched nature 1, so searching nature 2 isn't like... I mean, it's better, but it's not it's not super efficient. Anyways, so let's do that. Last turn we sent the message to LA Man that we were going to attack them. I might not have captured that on camera, but we did send that message. Let's do our kind of recruitment micro here. I guess we can move these guys up so they can research. We also failed down here because it turns out that Lemuria put a ton of PD. Not PD, he actually just recruited troops here. But what we're actually going to do is he's just going to get Dom killed eventually. And when he does that, it'll kind of reset all the troops in there, and then we'll just go in with a little bit. But in the meantime, I don't mind recruiting Shamblers because they're good siege strength, which we are going to need to take on Man here. Now we have a commander here who will be able to take these guys. Now these guys with a map move of 12. It's not... Well, actually, we could... All right, let's look at the... what the movement is going to be like for this war. I'm not sure I want to keep all these cavalry in this province, but because part of this is we want to... It's not like we want to do misdirection, but we have to decide where we're going to, how we're going to strike. Now, one thing, it looks like Man has been building citadels everywhere. So that's kind of annoying in a sense because it means it's going to be hard to siege down. These have a ton of siege strength, plus he has defenders. So it's going to be really hard to siege down these forts. And we're relying on cavalry, which is really bad at sieging stuff down. So what that means is, however, citadels are expensive. So I'm betting he doesn't have a ton of forts. So what it means is our war is going to have to be mostly raiding, grabbing all the provinces, and just having like token forces on top of his citadel so he can't break out with the mages. And once we have like all of his lands under control, then we can dump a bunch of siege strength on top of a fort and sort of siege it down. But we want to avoid, trying to siege down his forces with a bunch of sacred heavy cav. That's very inefficient. Okay, let's start here. Let's just assign some research items over here. We are about 3 turns from Alteration 7 Let's see. So last turn. Hang on. Last turn. Okay, last turn was turn 31. We sent him the message. So he got the message on turn 32. That means if we scripted, to attack him right now, that would be like a nap 1. If we script to attack on turn 33, with the battles happening on 34, that would be a nap 2, and a nap 3 is scripting on turn 34. Yeah. So script this turn is a nap 1, script on 33 is so script on 30. So we have to be in position on turn 34. We have to be on position on turn 34 to attack. That means 32. So for example, these footmen on turn 32, right? Like for example, if we were to move on to this fort here, we could do, we could wait 2 more turns, because on turn, no, we could wait 1 more turn, because on turn 33 we would move here, and then after that we would move on to this fort, right? That's how to think about that. I would like to, even though these are not, here, let's get a couple of scouts. Wow, a lot of scout provinces. Let's get some scouts here. He claimed this throne a little while back. It could be this throne too, I'm not sure. So his main force is a bit away from the front, and it's going to be making its way back, but it will be back on time on the front lines. So what I have to decide is where, if he ends up with his big army here, while my big army is down here, and he pushes onto me, then that's going to be a little awkward, right? So that's why I'm not sure if I want these guys to all move into this province, as opposed to being ready to attack this province in the middle. Now, what I would like to have down here is the ability to simultaneously push out and take out all 3 of these provinces, in fact, several of those provinces. So let's start getting a few barbarian heavy camps around here. And let's see, a Khan, actually that would work, although it'll be winter, so movement speed will be reduced, but we could, because this will be ready in 2 turns, so we could get a Khan here. Oh no, we don't have enough resources, so never mind that. But we could do, nope, not even enough resources for that. Let's see here. Let's grab a Khan and some horsemen. We'll grab another Khan here, and then here we'll also get some heavy horse. Oh, let me just check cap recruitment. No, we need some gold for an additional Celestial Master. Let's cancel this Khan over here. We actually have enough commanders to lead our army with all of these guys. So I actually see a ton of Magister's Arcane here. And so I think yeah, we could actually make it to this fort. I prefer this fort as a jumping off point than this one. It's much more central, and we could go in either direction. So that means we have 2 turns to get the heavy cavalry there. I think we could do it. I think even in winter, we'll be able to move this way. I think this will be sufficient. Now, the other thing I'd like to do is... So, let's see. Now is turn 32. On turn 34, we're going to script. So we're going to have 2 more turns of research. So, unfortunately, Alteration 7 is not quite going to be online for the first turn of fights. But depending on how, like, we might not try to have our major battle on the first turn of fights, so we might have to play around that. Given that, let's make sure that we have this guy, who's an Astral Mage with Air 2, up at the front, so that he'd be the guy who would do Fog Warriors as part of a little communion. So let's get that in place. And let me also... let me also bring the Astral Ones up here. Okay. And let's keep forging Skullmentors. Let's see. Anything else? Is there anything else? So in terms of casters, right now I have 1 nature caster. I actually wouldn't mind having a second nature caster, because these are going to be the ones doing mass protection. And in fact, we're going to, instead of doing a Skullmentor, what I'd like to do is I'd like to get a Cornucopia, just so we don't have to worry about managing nature gems. But it's not a bad idea. Let me get a Thistle Mace here. And we'll next turn we'll make a Cornucopia. That way we'll just be able to put to get mass protection off. Now we're going to be fighting in Drain, so we're only going to really be able to cast 1 spell. But that's okay. Trying to do a bit of planning here. I'd like to get another mage here, so we're going to cut back on... Let's keep recruiting the shaman. As we recruit troops, I've decided now to invest in some troops. You know what? Let's we're gonna stop recruiting these guys. 220. This is going to be enough when this gets Dom killed to take that on. Of course, we'll need to forge an underwater breathing item, but we'll get to that later. Let's get a nature mage here. Let's move this earth mage up, because that'll probably be relevant as well for the fighting. This guy would still be a crafter, so I'll keep him behind. He can still craft Skullmentors for me. Yeah. I think that's going to be it. The other thing that I might do is I might end up twice-borning some of my Death 2 guys. In fact, I could even twice-born... Do I have a Skull Staff? Alright, let's actually do something different here. Let's make... Instead of making Skullmentors, we're going to make some Skull Staffs. The reason is, with the Skull Staffs, we're going to be able to Twiceborn are Death 1 mages. And so next turn, so I know I'm making a Thistle Mace here, but my Nature Mage is going to be in this province next turn with a lab and everything, so I can forge the Cornucopia here if I want to. Meanwhile, I can Twiceborn all of my Ancestor Mages, because they're kind of squishy and they can die and I don't want them to, so Twiceborning will allow them to come back in a slightly tougher chassis. It's just a nice little insurance policy. Meanwhile, we're going to have as many cheap Arcane Mages as we can, so we'll be able to Magic Duel as many of his mages here as we can. Alright, I think this is as much planning as we can do 2 turns out from the beginning of this war, without the information from, where exactly he's coming from in terms of where his major army is. So that's going to be it for now. It's a little hard sometimes to plan out these movements exactly, 3 turns in advance, but we'll do our best. Oh, we actually have a ton of death guys here. It's really tempting, even without the hammers. Oh, I actually have an extra hammer here. Like, these guys are researching, but I'm really tempted to have these guys... the thing about this death income is that there actually isn't much to do with death gems besides forged skull mentors. Later on, obviously we'll be able to do liches. I actually think that Mound Fiends might be a thing that we do. They're death and holy, and they also can summon skeletons. So I actually think we're going to dump a lot of death gems into Mound Fiends. And they're also only death 3 to summon, so we can do them with a Skull Staff. But I really don't mind being a little inefficient here and just forging and just making a bunch of Skull Staffs with these guys. Since we're not going to hit our research target exactly on the turn that we go to war, although I have to make sure I don't, right now I'm actually, I have to make sure I don't drop too far behind in terms of research here. That might be inevitable. Alright, I seem to have... If I'd waited one more turn, we'd be in a much better position in terms of being able to hit our research target. Oh well. Actually, the truth is, so these guys do 17 research per turn, but them forging a Skull Staff is going to give a 14 research per turn bonus. So it's only a 3 research penalty over 2 turns to do this, and then as soon as you go over 3 turns, then you've more than made up for any losses. I could delay the site searching here. In fact, I think that's what we're gonna do, guys. Let's chill out a bit with these guys, and you know what? Let's actually bring... Well, you can kind of chill here. Let's chill out with the site search. Let's site search in this province. But then let's have you research. The nature... Let's have you... Okay. Let's have you... Twiceborn. You will make the Thistle Mace. And we have another hammer here, which I shouldn't forget to use. You forge another Skull Mentor. Alright, that's a bit better. Okay, I think that's going to be it for this turn. See you guys next time. Take care.